And welcome on in. It's another edition of the Aggie Coaches Show right here on the Aggie Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. All right, normally we talk football games throughout the fall. Obviously, with the season being pushed back a bit, we've had a chance to chat with a lot of different coaches across the Utah State campus, and excited. First conversation. I know you've had the job for a while now, but I'm excited to chat with you for the first time. Kayla R., the new women's basketball coach here at Utah State. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're excited to be able to chat with you a little bit and get to know you a little bit better. And I know you've given 100 different interviews. I apologize in advance for asking you probably questions you've been asked over and over and over again. But I think it's going to be fun to kind of get to know you and the process and how you ended up here at Utah State. But first off, how's Logan treated you so far?
It's amazing. The community here has been unbelievable. Aggie Nation's been so supportive. Everybody's just been super welcoming, and I love it here. It's really, really nice. It definitely feels like home to me.
When Utah State reached out and said, hey, we'd like to chat with you a little bit more about this job, what was your first thought?
I was absolutely interested. I've known John Hartwell for a long time. My first job at Troy, he was the athletic director there. It was my first Division I job, and so I had a connection with him already. I already knew about him, knew how he did things, types of people he had around him, and so I was definitely interested. Obviously, Mountain West is a great conference, and so I had a lot of knowledge about that and about the program. So I was definitely interested and excited about the opportunity.
So across the country, people know a little bit about women's hoops here in the Mountain West.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great conference.
So, and I know you and I talked a little bit off the air about this. I know you've been asked this 100 times, but learning and getting essentially recruited for a job and interviewing for a job in the middle of a pandemic. Because right when you talked was right when middle of March when all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was our first the first interview process was down in Salt Lake, and that night it started coming out and everything started getting shut down. So I didn't know if I was going to get stuck there, and I was there with John Hartwell was there, Jerry Bovey, we were all there, and we were like, what is going on? So it was really interesting, crazy time. Then a week later, they asked me to come back to campus, so they were like, are you okay to fly in it? Or, so that was an interesting time. The airport was like a ghost town. So it was really interesting. But like I said, just great for the opportunity. But it's different, it's definitely different. Yeah. Nobody can really be prepared for this type of thing. People that have been coaches before. So, yeah, it's my first go at it, but it's everybody's first go at it. So, I don't think I'm really going through anything different than anybody else.
Well, and then the introductory press conference, you want to have a bunch of people there and have some fun, and it had to be done essentially digitally.
Yeah, that was different. That was different. You kind of, for me, I've always dreamed of being a head coach, and I get my opportunity, and then I think my mom's gonna be, my brother's gonna be there. My friends, my family, and there's like camera, me, Hartwell, one other person, and that was about it. But like I said, I'm just happy to be here, man. However it's getting done, I don't really care. I'm just glad to be here.
You played junior college ball in Florida. You grew up in Louisiana, right?
I did, yeah.
And then ended up finishing at Southeastern Louisiana. You played there from 04 to 06. Southland Conference All-Selection in 2005. Growing up, when did basketball kind of sink its teeth into you?
Yeah, I think when I was young, I played a ton of sports. I didn't really know what direction I was going to go, but somebody else actually told me, my mentor, she's the head coach at Troy, and she was the one that told me, like, hey, you need to be a coach. You need to play basketball. You need to be serious about it. So she pushed me in that direction, and she was a lot smarter than me at that time. She's still a lot smarter than me. So yeah, I just kind of followed her and trusted her, and that's how I got into it. But it just felt like, that's what I was supposed to do. I can't imagine doing anything else. So it's fun. It doesn't feel like work. I get to coach basketball for a living. So, not many people get to do something like that. So it's a great opportunity.
What was your first coaching opportunity?
It was a junior college. I was Pensacola State. With her, actually, the lady I'm talking about, this head coach at Troy. She was the head coach at Pensacola. I went there, and she was like, if you just graduate, I'll give you an assistant coaching job. Wow. And so it was. We were there for 2 years. I followed her over to Troy and moved around several times after that. So and now I'm here.
Everywhere, and I'm looking at your coaching bio here.
Yeah.
I see recruiting coordinator. Boom, 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 boom. Everywhere you went, it seems like you're running recruiting. Is that something that kind of comes natural to you? Because in reading some of the quotes from some of the coaches that commented about you when you got the job, everybody brings up recruiting. When did that set in as kind of a skill set that you feel like you were pretty good at?
Yeah, I think I got thrown in the fire. I didn't know, that my coach, Coach Ribby, she told me if you want to be successful in this profession, if you want to, get somewhere and really get your name known out there, you got to be able to get players. And if you can do that, then you'll be able to make a life in this profession. And so I didn't know what I was doing at first. I think it's all about relationships. If you can talk to people and if you're genuine and get to know them. And yeah, I just kind of went that route, but it was everywhere I've been the recruiting coordinator, and so it was really hard for me to hand it off to somebody here to do that. But yeah, I got really lucky and got a really good recruiting coordinator in Carly Burst, and she's really successful in that area as well. So yeah, that was just, I think that was my niche to get where I'm at now. So it's just relationships, man. If you can talk to people, if you can get people to trust you and you care about people, then you'll be a successful recruiting coordinator.
How hard is it to evaluate talent at the high school level when that player might be the best player on their team, but they may not, or you're trying to project what they're going to be at the collegiate level? How tough is that to do?
Yeah, I think you got to look at who they're playing against, the system that they're playing in. Like for us, we play really fast. So if you're watching a team that plays really slow, walks the ball up the floor, how good are they going to be when you're pushing the tempo? I think that's important. And then, like you said, it's hard to look at high school basketball sometimes is just not where it needs to be, or maybe they're a lot smaller, playing against a team that's a lot smaller. You get to college, you're playing against guards that are 6'1", 6 foot. So I think you got to look at all those things, but a player when you see one. You know when somebody can hoop. So it's hard, but I think I've been doing it for a long time, and our staff, everybody on our staff's been doing it for a long time. So when you know a baller, you see them, you know they got it.
Are you able to identify some of those intangibles like toughness and being able to handle pressure, stuff like that? Is that something you can analyze pretty easily?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of things that's important to me is, yes, I want somebody to put the ball in the basket. I want somebody that plays defense, whatever, but kid dives on the floor after a loose ball. Kid helps her teammate up, comes out of the game, hustles off the court, high fives her teammates, looks her coach in the eye. Things like that are more important to me because we're real big about culture. So right now we're trying to change the culture at Utah State. So when we're looking at players, we're looking at the culture. How was that kid raised? What kind of program did they play in? What kind of high school did they go to? Where they come from? Things like that, because those are the things that are going to help you win championships. Yeah, kids can put the ball in the basket, but if you got a bad culture, it's not going to matter.
How difficult is it to recruit in the middle of a dead period too?
Well, that's been interesting. We signed 4 kids really quick, right when we got here. But to be honest, we haven't offered one scholarship out to a 2021 kid yet, and we have a couple scholarships that we know we're going to have, but we haven't put one offer out there yet because we were waiting to see what we wanted, what our needs were going to be in that class, but also we haven't been out to see anybody. So we all have connections here and there that we've had prior to coming to Utah State, but you can't evaluate anybody right now. You can only see so much on film. So those things that I'm talking about, you don't see that on a highlight film. I have no idea if the kid is a good person, where they came from, those types of things off of a highlight film. So you have to dig in a little further. You definitely got to do a lot more things virtually, and so it's been difficult. And like I said, we haven't put any offers out there yet, so we're going to take our time. We just want to make sure that we get the right fit for our culture here.
Is that hard to do? Be patient when maybe you're seeing players out there make commitments and things like that?
Left and right, yeah, for sure. It's definitely hard. We were waiting because like I said, we wanted to identify kind of, okay, what positions do we need? We're probably going to have 2 scholarships. We wanted to see what we wanted in those spots, but it's definitely hard, especially for somebody like that's my thing, I've recruited forever. So it's definitely hard. I want to go out there and be like, well, I'm going to get this kid. But even though patience is not one of my best qualities, I'm trying to do the best I can do with that right now.
Kayla are the new women's basketball coach here at Utah State. Kind enough to join us as we continue to get you ready for the start of the season. Early indications, what did practice look like with your players? Yeah,
they look good. There's a lot of energy in there. I think the kids are really excited. Breath of fresh air, and something we told the players was, hey, you got a brand new slate, clean slate. I don't care if you're the leading scorer or the kid that never played. You got a brand new slate. So I think they've been really fired up for that. So there's been a ton of energy. Definitely a different system for them than what they were playing prior to us getting here. So it's been really, really good, though. We love the effort that's going on out there and the chemistry and the way they care about each other. So it's been nice so far.
From you talk about you want to play fast, and we'll talk more about what your system and what your culture is. But it's always funny because players will always say they want to play in an up-tempo system. And then they get to an up-tempo system, and the work that has to go in to be able to play in that kind of a system, I got to imagine can be eye-opening sometimes.
Yeah, I got a feeling a couple of them are saying that right now. Actually, we're doing a lot of conditioning. And so, yeah, we look good in practice when we're going for a 5-minute scrimmage, but obviously a game isn't 5 minutes long. So there's a lot of timeouts being called. There's a lot of subs. There's a lot of breaks. But, we'll get there. But yeah, I agree. It's, of course, that's what they say they want to do. But it is hard. It's tough. It's a lot of hard work, and you got to be in really, really good shape. And one of the first things I told the kids, I get the job, we get on our first Zoom call together, and that's how I met them.
Wow.
I said, you better be in the best shape of your life whenever we come out here. And, their eyes were this big around. So it's a little scary. I wanted to scare them a little bit, not too much, but a little bit so that they, really worked on getting in shape. So it's definitely tough, but if we can get there where we're trying to get, we could be really successful here.
Did you get the sense that they embraced that challenge?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a couple kids, with everything going on though, some of the kids have had to go through quarantine or had to go through this or that or couldn't get back or, we had one kid stuck in international kid. So, I mean, I think they've done it to the best of their ability. Yeah, they've, like I said, they've really embraced our staff and they've been, arms wide open. They're excited to be here. So I think they've done it to the best of their ability, but we still got a long way to go.
Awesome. We'll continue to talk to the new women's basketball coach here at Utah State, Kayla Ard. When we come back, you're listening to Aggie Basketball from Learfield IMG College. Women's basketball coach Kayla Ard kind enough to join us here on the Aggie Coaches Show from Learfield IMG College as we get you ready for the upcoming women's basketball season. Okay, so when I ask this, just know you don't have to share details or anything like that. This is just a generic question, and you can answer it any way you want. But with the pushback start and trying to adjust schedules, how is that going?
Yeah, I could get Coach Kenny over here to talk about this scheduling if you want. She's probably ready to strangle me. She's in charge of our scheduling. It's first off, I'm excited that we're having a season, obviously, and that we typically we're only losing about 4 games.
Yeah.
So that's exciting, but it would have been nice in a perfect world if we already had a game on the 25th and then all your games just rolled after that, right? Well, unfortunately, we had a game on the 24th that can't be moved to the 25th, so we're trying to fill that 25th game. But everything else, all the rest of our games are set, and we're leaving them there. So that's great. We just got to fill that one game basically. So. It's a little bit of a headache, you know, but like I said, again, everybody in the country's dealing with it, and I'm sure we'll get it worked out. But we're just grateful to be playing. I'm just happy that we have a season.
What's your overall philosophy on recruiting? Is it kind of depend on your year and who's coming back, or do you just say, hey, come on, let's roll?
No, I think you gotta balance your classes for one thing. So, like right now, we only have 2 scholarships in the 21 class, and then, you know, like maybe the 22 class or the 23 class, you have like 6, which is, you don't want to do that, you know, or I don't want to do that. I want it to be more balanced than that. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is I think you got to fill the positions. So right now we know, you know, specific positions that we need to go after in the 21 class. So even though there might be a point guard that you just really love. If you already got 3 point guards on your squad, I mean, it's just really not smart to pull somebody. But every now and then, especially if it's a local kid, sometimes you can't pass people up, you know. So I try to stick to that, but you know, things happen, and especially in-state kids or local kids, if they're that good and you know the community's gonna get behind them, and you know you don't want to pass them up. So maybe you shift somebody else around, and our system, you know, is pretty positionless. We try to get players that can play multiple positions, so that helps us a little bit.
From a scheduling standpoint, when you put a schedule together, how do you have fundamental approaches on how you want to build a schedule?
Yeah, typically, you know, well, right now.
I mean, in a normal year, I guess.
Right now, I would love to be if we could drive everywhere, so we don't have to get on a plane. But yeah, typically in the past, I've tried to do things like if you have a player that's kind of far from home. Now we got a kid from Germany. We're not going to go to Germany and play, but you know, if you got a kid that's far from home. We have a kid from Florida, for example. Yeah. Maybe if you can get in a tournament down there, try to get her in front of her her fans, her family, her friends. I like to try to do stuff like that. But past that, you know, I want to play good competition. I want to get us ready for the Mountain West, and a lot of the schedule was already done this year before we got here, so we didn't have a whole lot of control over it. So it'll look a little different moving forward.
You've got a lot of local in-state teams, I'm sure, that people want to see, BYU, Utah, Weber State, and stuff like that. I'm sure you've had conversations there as well.
Yeah. Actually, we're kind of trying to talk to Weber State right now. I know that's something that some people would like to see, so we're kind of trying to talk to them, but they already got a game on the 25th, and you know, so we're trying to move some things around. But we had a game scheduled with BYU, but it was prior to the 25th start date, so it got canceled. We were also going to play Iowa State to open our season. It got canceled. Because it was before the start date. But yeah, moving forward, I mean, we're not going to back down to anybody. We're not going to shy away from anybody. So if you know, if these in-state schools, they want to start some home and homes, we're going to get after it.
You mentioned the culture, trying to change the culture. What's a Kayla Ard Utah State culture? What, you know, in a generic sense, what are you trying to build?
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing, the first thing, I want to be around good people. And I want our staff to be around good people. I want the community to be around good people. I want our players to represent our program as good people first. Now, don't get me wrong, we're going to win. I came here to win. I'm a winner. We're going to win. So, you know, good people, but we're going to get after it on the court. So we're going to do things the right way. We're not going to break rules. We're not going to have kids flunking classes or you know, we focus on the little things. You show up 5 minutes early. You look people in the eyes. You say, you know, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You know, you're respectful. And those are the things that matter the most. But like I said, at the end of the day, we're here to coach basketball, and we're going to win games.
Love that. That's great. It's a pretty good and pretty simple philosophy there. Let's talk about your coaching staff. They're all here today. Let's talk about who you got.
Yeah, I paid them to come up here. I'm just kidding. No, these guys are great. They're super supportive. We got a really fun staff. They're my recruiting coordinator, Carly Burris. She is from Arizona. She was at Cal State Fullerton prior to coming here. She has kind of like me. She's been a recruiting coordinator multiple places, and she's pretty calm and kind of even keel and not super high energy, but you know the players respect her and like her, and she's got a very mellow type of approach, if that makes sense, which is the opposite of me. So we balance each other out pretty well. And then Taylor Ignato is my director of basketball operations, and she's really the one that's running things over here. I got everybody fooled. She's the one keeping me together over here, but. She was at Nebraska Omaha. We coached against each other last year. So when I was at Denver, so that's how I got to know her, and just been out on the road. And then Jawan Scaife I recruited his sister and coached his sister at the University of Dayton. So I have known him for quite some time and know his mother, his father really well. His sister's overseas playing now. She had a really successful career at Dayton. And so I've known him for a really long time and his family for a long time. And then Jean Kinney played at LSU, and I've known her for a really long time, too. We coached a little AAU ball together real briefly, and then I watched her career at LSU. So no Louisiana girl. That's what we were joking about earlier. We sound completely different. If you got her up here, her accent, my accent's completely different. We're from the same place, so I'm not sure how that happened. But yeah, it's a great group of people. I'm very, very lucky to have all those guys, and they've been unbelievable to me so far.
So when you're out putting a staff together, it sounds like, prior relationships and knowing who they are and their background was really important to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the culture of the players. We want good people, but that starts at the top. I have to live that way, and then I got to put people around me on my staff that are that way. And I couldn't have got a better group of people to instill that in our players, and just help us all be better together and be a family together. So I knew all these guys except for Carly. Actually, I knew of her. I knew her reputation, but she was the last one that I hired, and we just had an immediate connection as soon as I talked to her, and we just knew it was going to be a really good fit. But yeah, I don't know how I talked all these guys into coming crazy enough to come coach with me, but they're all here, so I appreciate them.
Well, I do see, the social media posts from the women's basketball account on Twitter, and it sounds like you guys get the golf course quite a bit.
Yeah.
Who's the better golf player?
Well, if you ask them, their answer would be different. I would say Carly's the better golfer, but except Taylor. Yeah, you. Well, Juwan will not come play golf with us. He's not into it. It's not for him. But us other 3, 4, we all go play a lot. But, yeah, I'm out there quite a bit. They gave me a membership out there in my contract, and I enjoy golf. The course is beautiful. The staff up there has been really good to us. And it, at a time when you can't do anything,
exactly.
it gives you something to do when you're outside. So it's nice to get out. And it's been the weather here is beautiful. I mean, you look around, and it's so gorgeous outside. So it's been really, really good. I'd like to say that my golf game has gotten quite a bit better since I got here, but I'd probably lying to you, so I don't want to do that.
I did see a picture. You guys ran into J.C. Carroll. Is that right?
Yeah. We see him out there. Yeah, he's back overseas right now, but him and his wife are out there, and we ran into him quite a few times. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He was really nice. He came up and introduced himself and started talking to us. He's really nice.
He's like, no big deal. All-time leading scorer at Utah State.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, that's exactly how he was when we met him. Actually, that's exactly how he was. Yeah, just no.
All right, so I want to talk about some of the players. I know you were able to add a few in the offseason. You mentioned really quick after you got the job, you were able to add a few players. And give us maybe some names that we should be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, so we got Jess Chapman. She's a grad transfer, so she started out at BYU and then went over to Southern Utah. She's a post player. She's really talented. She fits the system really good. She's got height, she's got strength, she can score under the basket, she can get out and run the floor, and she can also shoot it from the outside, which is exactly what we look for. So she was a no-brainer. I think they announced I had the job, and 2 days later she committed. So that was that was awesome. Her and I had a really good connection, and we were really excited to get her. And then we signed 3 junior college players because we were very, very, very young, and we knew we needed some maturity. And again, talking about balancing out the classes recruiting-wise. So we wanted to make an impact right away. So we got a point guard down from Florida, Paris Williams. She's definitely going to be one to watch. We named her our captain. So she's actually one of our captains, and she's really good. She's really good for the team. She knows how to talk to people. People respect her. She brings it every day. Combo guard, shoot it, pass it, get to the basket. Definitely got some toughness to her. And then Mo Pruitt, another junior college kid. She's kind of a 3-4 type player, kind of hybrid type kid. Really, really athletic, crazy athletic. Really good rebounder. And then Brie Matthews is kind of the same thing, kind of hybrid type kid, but same thing, super athletic. I mean, she is extremely strong. She's very, very, very hard to stop. So we're really excited about those kids that we signed, but there's some kids that were already on the roster that are already signed here that we're also extremely excited about, and just putting those pieces with the other pieces that we brought in, it's exciting. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody play defense the way Faith Brantley plays. I mean, I love her defense. She just gets after it. She's really good. The kid Shyla sat out last year, so nobody has seen her yet, and she's she's little, but man, she packs a big punch. She can really score the ball, so she's
Yeah.
fun. She's really fun. And then, of course, Emmy's our senior, and she can really shoot it. And she's fitting into the system really well. Taylor Franson, local kid that I don't think she's shown what she's really capable of doing. But I mean, I could go through a list of every kid on our squad. Like they've really been getting after it and doing everything we're asking them to do. And the new pieces definitely complement the pieces that were already here. And then we got a really nice freshman class coming in too. So. Yeah, it's exciting, man. We have a chance to be really, really good.
You talk about positionless, and you bring up hybrid players. It seems like players that can switch and do all kinds of different things. Sounds like that's kind of the system you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we'll go to. That's what we'll recruit for. But we got lucky, inheriting a group that we can kind of go ahead and play that way. And a lot of people take over a program, you don't get to do that immediately. You have to kind of work your way into it or change your system. I came in here, we're running the system that I wanted to run. We were actually up in the office today, Jawan and I, where we were drawing up the offense. And so we're going to roll with exactly how we want to play. And that's we got really, really lucky inheriting a team that has taken that on. And, we got kids, I'm like, hey, you're going to play the 4 today. And they're okay. And they've never done that in their life. They're a guard. And so the kids have been really, really good. But like I said, we got lucky with it. But one of the freshmen, Hallie Nelson, she's about 2 hours away here, and I recruited her at Denver, and she shot me down so hard and said she wanted to stay in state. So my first phone call with her was, I said, hey, you remember me? And she's like, oh, yeah, coach. So it was so funny, man. So I'm like, now you're stuck playing for me. And she's like, no, I'm so excited to play for you. But it's just really funny, so I mess with her about that all the time. But she's that kind of kid, very positional. She could play a guard, she could play a post. So those are the types of players that we'll go after, and we got a great mix with it. So it's exciting.
Well, did you kind of know what you had when you got the job, or were you just like, what, this is where I want to be, and this is the conference I want to be in, and I hope that there's something in the cupboard when I get there?
Yeah. The second that I even knew this job was a possibility, I watched a ton of film. So I knew. I knew what I was coming into, and I knew the cupboard wasn't dry there. I knew there were some pieces, and I also knew some of the players that are already here that maybe haven't been that successful would be more successful in a different type of system.
Gotcha.
So that's one thing. I can't wait to watch Faith and see how much she grows this year from what she did last year, because I think the system complements her so well. Like Emmy, I think her system complements her so well. Taylor Francis, same thing. So some of the players that haven't been putting up these huge numbers or whatever, I think the system's really going to help them out. So I knew coming in, I knew what we had, and I was very honest with every player on the team, how they fit, how they didn't fit the system. I watched a ton of film, and the ones that I didn't kick anybody off the team. The ones that decided to leave, they wanted to transfer, and I respected that, and they respected me being honest with them. So it was really good, and then that's how we ended up with a couple scholarships to be able to sign some kids. So I knew what I was coming into.
Our next guest, final question for our next guest coming up is going to be Craig Smith, and Craig is, in fact, it's really hard. He's not a big guy at all, but he's really hard to call a game because I have to kind of stare through him because he's always in front of me, and then he moves around, and he's really animated on the sideline. Is that kind of what we're going to get from you as well?
I keep hearing that I'm the female version of Craig Smith, which is a huge compliment, but also I'm like, wow, don't put that on me, man. Came in here and won 2 championships his first 2 years.
Yeah, no pressure there.
Right, no pressure there. He's amazing though, but him and I have a lot of the same personality traits. Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of same personality traits, and we I don't know. I'm a little animated on the sideline at times, probably more so to the referee than I should be. But 1 minute I'll be like that, and I'm very loud and very vocal. And the next minute I'll be standing there with my hands crossed. And I think at some point you gotta let players figure it out for themselves. But yeah, I got a feeling if you called one of our games, you'd be just as frustrated with me walking in front of you. You wouldn't be able to see. So.
And this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. It's great to get to know you, your staff, and good luck. Can't wait for the season.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Kayla, our new women's coach, Craig Smith, men's coach, joining us next on the Coaches Show right here from Learfield IMG College. Hey, welcome on in. It's the Coaches Show here at Old Chicago, and joining us now, Craig Smith, men's basketball coach, and it's been a long time since middle of March since I've been able to hang out with you. We've talked on the phone a couple times, but good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, let's give a round of applause for Scotty G. Oh, yeah, the best in the business. No doubt about that.
Oh, there's plenty of doubts about that.
No.
How's summer treating you?
It's been good. It's great to see everybody here tonight. I'm getting some people staring at me like, this guy's a weirdo. It gives me the creeps. But I'm used to that, so it's what my kids' friends say all the time. It's been good. I mean, it's been uneven. I'm sure you and Kayla probably talked about it, but, I've gotten really good at getting cotton swabs stuck up our nose.
Yeah.
So I tell you, in my left nostril, I broke my nose a couple times, so there's like a little thing there. I wish they had a crooked one.
Oh, wow.
Could kind of go up and then come back. It would help a
So
lot
you get
on
that
the
whole
left
like
nostril.
the whole brain swab thing that you have to go through.
Yeah,
Is it as bad as everybody says it is?
It's actually not as bad as people say it is. But the first time, I mean, it kind of, you get that weird feeling, and it kind of, they just keep spinning it in a circle. So I had a lot of practice doing that as a kid, so it wasn't too big of an adjustment. Like this guy right here with the hat backwards can relate. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That guy right there, he can relate. He's ignoring me right now. Yep, him.
He knows what's going on.
He knows.
So practices are going on. How are guys looking? Or can you say?
Inexperienced.
Does it get the feel of 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Really?
In some, I mean, not totally, but in some respects it does. It's just good to be back. We had about 3 weeks this summer, but we've almost had 3 different teams in a weird way, because we had our team initially when we were able to got cleared, but we didn't have all of our freshmen here. Kuba wasn't here. Shimon Apollo is going to be a freshman from Poland, wasn't here. Max Shuga and Z. And so we didn't know if they were going to get in the country.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, with everything that was going on, and we just didn't know what was going to happen. And we had some people all around the state of Utah that really helped us with that, along with obviously some people on our staff and on campus. So then they get here and they got to quarantine for 2 weeks. So we had our team from the summer, then we had our team when we first started.
Yeah.
While those guys were still quarantining, and now we finally have everybody able to practice, able to work out, including our coaching staff. There's just so many things that go into it with the testing and the protocols and so on and so forth. So it's just, and so like we told our guys, like we just got to be prepared for everything. We know the game that we have to play.
Yeah.
And so you got to be able to adapt and adjust, and depth, I think, will be a big thing this year in basketball, and certainly the teams that are playing football as well.
You a little bit of an international flair to recruiting in the offseason. How did that all come about?
Well, I mean, it's an area that we've done for quite a while. Our last couple years at South Dakota, and then certainly since we've been here. And you always got to look at your team and look at areas that you feel like you got to get better at, of course, and be able to plug and play. And we're really excited about our whole freshman class. Obviously, late in the season we had we had 3 scholarships available at the end of the season, I guess, in the late recruiting period, and really excited about all 3 of those guys that we brought in, and a couple of the guys that we signed early, Stephen Ashworth, who, of course, the previous staff had signed, and he served his mission and just came back, and he was a star player at Lone Peak High School in the year that they were a top 10 team in the country. And I think he had 26 maybe in the second half against Mount Verde, who won the national title. And he's a winner and a leader. And Raleigh Worcester, the same thing, like 6'3" guard, super strong, just makes so many winning plays. So, but we're really excited about that whole freshman crew. But with that, it's a big adjustment. And Raleigh and Stephen were here from the get-go this summer, and so they're you can tell they were here when you go watch us practice, because they understand our verbiage better, they understand our team concepts better. They're just a step ahead. Whereas, those 3 guys coming in, just got here and just started literally a few days ago.
Obviously you just don't replace a guy like Sam Merrill, but from from Diogo and from Abel and guys that just were senior experienced leaders. Take away just what they do on the court, but just the presence in a locker room. How difficult is that to try to replace?
Yeah, those are big losses. Those guys, Diogo, the year before we got here, he played major minutes. He started most games. Sam, obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't just go replace Sam.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to be the whole team. Right. The whole's got to be greater than the sum of its parts, and so we'll just be We're going to be a different team. Abel Porter, obviously, those three guys logged a lot of minutes for us the last 2 years and made so many winning plays. And a guy like, you get Diogo and Sam out on the floor. Those two are, those two are very underrated defensively, not only with the way they know how to play, but their intelligence level, anticipation. But then they're also very, very smart guys, as is Abel. So now you take those three guys out, and the only perimeter player with any real experience for us is Brock Miller.
Yeah.
And he's played a lot. Bairstow averaged about 10 minutes a game last year, made some big plays for us in that Mountain West tournament. We went to beat New Mexico without Sean that night. And
how's his health, by the way?
Really good. He looks like a whole nother guy. Just physically matured, very confident. You forget, you come all the way over from Australia, it's your first time, and you're going against Sam every day and Diogo every day, and those guys are veteran guys, so they can kind of make freshmen, look foolish at times. And so now he's come in with a whole different mindset. He's very, very confident, has a year under his belt with our language and what we do, and he just looks like a whole nother guy out there. And so those are the only two perimeter guys that have any kind of experience. Marco Anthony, of course, played on a national championship team, but he didn't play a whole lot, and so he doesn't have a ton of experience either. And I was just thinking about this today. We have 9 guys on our team that have never played 1 minute for the Aggies. So, that's a lot of guys that have never stepped on the Spectrum floor playing a meaningful minute.
It is Craig Smith, the head basketball coach at Utah State's men's basketball team. We'll take a quick break, come back, and talk about what it's like trying to be a head coach in the middle of a pandemic and get ready for a season, and a little bit of the scheduling as well, with November 25th being the start date. It all continues on next right here from Learfield IMG College. All right, final segment of the show. Still plenty to talk about with Craig Smith, head coach of Utah State's men's basketball team.
You got time for one question?
Well, we'll make it count. November 25th, the NCAA will have that as the start date. I know that I'm not asking you particulars about schedules. I'm just, in general, how much of a pain in the you-know-what has it been to try to navigate through all of this?
Hey, how about a round of applause for Kayla Ard and her staff? Yeah, going to do great things. Super excited about them. It's been awesome in the office. High energy. Always got great accent. I've been trying to imitate her. It's really difficult for me. She's from not Hammond.
Yeah.
Close to Hammond, Louisiana. I'm from like 20 miles from Canada. So like she needs to try to imitate my accent, and I'm trying to imitate hers, but it's been difficult. So scheduling. Yeah, it's been difficult because we can play 27 games if we play in an MTE, which we are going to play in down in Orlando.
Okay, I wasn't going to ask you about that, but now that's out of the bag. Yeah,
we're doing that.
You're going to bubble it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a loose term, too. Like, everyone's claiming they're bubbles, but they're really – nobody's going to replicate, what the NBA did.
Yeah.
So it's more like a pod, but that's semantics. But anyway, so we're still trying to figure out the dates exactly. We don't know who we're going to play, nothing like that.
Okay.
We don't know if it's going to be tournament style or just like 3 games, you know what I mean, against whomever. So there's still some work to be done there. And then we have to cut 4 games. So as of right now, our game 1, our game 2, we're not playing. It was announced yesterday we're not playing the A10 Mountain West Conference Challenge. So that's the 3rd game. And we still got to figure out the other game. And you're trying to reposition things while working with the other school. Now, I will say the fortunate part for us is we had some local games scheduled this year. And so those are games that we all want to play and we should play. Easy trips for us going to one school in state and 2 come to our place. So that's nice. So there's only 9 non-conference games. Well, that's 6 of them right there.
Yeah.
So then we all know St. Mary's is supposed to be coming here. We're supposed to be playing Mississippi State on a neutral in Florida on whenever, I can't remember the date, late December. So it's still a work in progress. I know there's bubbles popping up in supposedly Vegas and Indianapolis and various places. I think Duke said they're going to start one. Louisville's doing one. I know Nebraska's trying to do one. So there's a lot of juxtapositioning going on right now, and hopefully we can get all those in, and then we'll play our 8-team conference games. And, that's what will be interesting, because if the teams and leagues are going to have to decide how can teams cancel not playing? Is it a certain number? Is it a percentage of your – like, nobody knows that. And it can't just be like, Kayla and Bean aren't playing, so we can't go play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and we haven't been told how that's going to work yet. If that's an NCAA decision, it's a league decision. But we all got to be ready. Like we've seen it in football already, where some games aren't being played. And so you got to have the flexibility to either not play it. Can you make that up later? I'm not sure anyone knows. It's the first time for everybody going through this, and there's going to be some ups and downs. But you got to be able to handle it the best you can and figure things out for the best of the student athletes.
You've been doing this coaching thing for a while, and I'm sure you've seen some stuff, but I can't imagine you've ever seen anything remotely like what you're going through right now.
Yeah, it's been really bizarre, but I'm not sure any of us have seen any of the stuff that we're going through with so many, in so many different respects. And so, it's all you can do is make the most of the opportunities. We have to operate. We are operating as the NCAA, as specific institutions have different rules. And, San Diego State, I don't think has done anything with sports the last 2 weeks. So you just have all these different, and there's no foolproof way of not testing positive or I suppose there's more foolproof ways of testing positive, but when we do, we know whether you're asymptomatic or not, and I'm not getting into politics, but we know the rules that we have to abide by.
Yeah.
If that happens, and so be it. So all you can do is, we always say NBA next, and not National Basketball Association, next best action, and that's what you have to do.
From what you've seen from your guys, does this team look a little different next year?
Yeah, it'll be different for sure. I mean, obviously the lack of experience. Our front court has a lot of experience. I mean, Kayla obviously, and Bean and Anderson. Trevin Darius played some very meaningful. Like, we don't beat Florida without Trevin. But then, late in the year, and Karwowski had some really good games early, and then he had the appendectomy. He wasn't quite the same. Shimon's going to be a very good player, Zapala. And so we have some experience there. It's just going to come down to, how good can our backcourt be and how quick can those freshmen pick up on things. But I'm very encouraged with what we've seen. Certainly we got a long ways to go, but I'm really, really excited. We'll be different. As a whole, we're probably more athletic. Not probably, we are. And then some of those veteran guys got to take that next step up. Nimi looks as good as he's looked. He just is physically strong, clearly gotten stronger, clearly moves better, is jumping better. He looks really good. He's really improved his touch in every way. Bean has really had a great offseason. The game, I think, has really just slowed down for him. He's able to do some things that he wouldn't have been able to think about doing even just 7 months ago. And same with Fonz. And Brock has tightened up and has become a more consistent shooter and has a better handle. So those guys, like we said last year, those guys got to take the next step. We told Nimi, like when Nimi got here, for example, or even Bean, those guys looked up to those upperclassmen. Like Nimi's big brother was Diogo as a junior, right? Bean just looked up to Sam so much, and so now those guys are the upperclassmen, right? Those guys got to take that mentorship role to help all these freshmen and guide them in the right direction. And, hey, this is our culture. And culture gets overused at times, but this is the Aggie way, right? This is how we do things. And it's been exciting to see them take that next step, because it has been Sam and Abel and Diogo and Quinn Taylor really doing that for us in a major way.
You talk about Kayla. 2 years ago, you signed him really late. I think it was almost August when you finally got him over here, maybe August, September. And so you didn't have a full off season with him then. Last year he dealt with the injury. This is, wow, we only have a minute here, but this is the one.
Stop talking. I could talk a little bit.
This is the one summer you've had him the whole summer. I think he stayed here the whole summer. That's got to be beneficial for him.
That's a great point, Scotty. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Hey, the 2-minute warning. Let's go. You're right. Yeah, he got here like a day. I think his first day here was our second day of school, and he really picked up. That Nimi is a very intelligent guy. He picks up on things quick, and that's what's been fun to see now is how quick some of these guys pick up on things. And generally speaking, we like to recruit those kind of guys. So, and then last year he went and played with the national team, which we were all for, and obviously he had that injury. So with the coronavirus, he just knew it was best to stay here. He really got in the weight room, improved his athleticism, improved his strength, improved his touch, and I think Aggie fans will be excited to see what he can do.
Can't wait till November 25th or whatever day that is to see these guys in action. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We got a lot of time in between then and there, so hopefully we can do this again before then.
Oh, trust me, we will. All right, that's Craig Smith, head coach of Utah State's men's basketball team. Big thanks to Kayla Ard, who hung out with us as well, the head coach of the women's team. Remember, Utah State football, who knows when we might hear something about that. I'd say keep an eye on here the next couple days.
Come on. We've seen it on Twitter. We're playing. Let's go.
Let's roll, baby.
Gator, send it deep.
Aggie basketball right here on the Aggie Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Go Aggies.